In the quiet village of Nsopolo, where the wind carried the smell of burning firewood and the mornings began with the crowing of roosters, there lived a young girl whose dreams were far bigger than the land that raised her. Her name was Shama. To most people in the village, she was simply the daughter of a farmer and a market woman. But to her teachers, she was something else. She was hope. Because Shama was the kind of girl who believed that her life could be different. Different from the girls who married too young. Different from the boys who abandoned school to work in the fields. Shama believed in something greater. She believed in education. Every evening after finishing her chores, she would sit outside their small mud house with her books. The only light she had was the weak flame of a kerosene lamp. Sometimes the wind blew so hard the flame would flicker and threaten to die. But Shama never stopped reading. She had one dream. One goal that burned in her heart like fire. She wanted to become the best student in the entire village school. Because the best student every year received something life-changing. A scholarship. A scholarship that would take them far away from Nsopolo. Far away to the great city of Bwada. A city full of tall buildings, universities, libraries, and opportunities. To Shama, Bwada was not just a city. It was the place where her dreams would finally begin. But sometimes, life changes in a single moment. A single meeting. A single mistake. And the story you thought you were writing suddenly turns into something else. This is the story of Shama. The girl who almost lost her dream. Shama grew up in a simple home. Her father was a farmer who spent his days under the harsh sun, cultivating maize and cassava on land that often gave very little in return. Her mother worked in the market square, selling vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, and dried fish. Money was always tight. Sometimes so tight that Shama had to go to school on an empty stomach. But her parents had one belief. If their daughter succeeded in school, their entire family's future could change. Shama understood that responsibility. She carried it with pride. Every morning she woke before sunrise. She swept the compound. Fetched water from the village well. Helped her mother prepare goods for the market. And then she walked nearly 3 miles to school. Her teachers quickly noticed something special about her. She asked questions no one else asked. She finished assignments before everyone else. She stayed after school to read books that were meant for students far older than her. One teacher, Madam Kira, once said something that Shama never forgot. "Shama," she said, "your mind is too big to stay in this village forever." Those words stayed with her. They became her motivation. Every test she passed. Every exam she conquered. Every night she studied while other children slept. Slowly, her reputation grew. By the time she reached her final year in the village school, everyone already believed the same thing. Shama would become the best student in Nsopolo. And when that happened, she would go to Bwada. But destiny was already preparing a different path. One afternoon, Shama's mother handed her a small woven basket.
"Go to the market and buy me onions, salt and pepper."
Shama nodded and began walking toward the market square. The marketplace was the heart of Nsopolo. Vendors shouted prices. Children chased each other through narrow paths between stalls. Women bargained loudly over tomatoes and peppers. That was where Shama first saw Jila. He stood beside the village well. Tall, confident, laughing with a group of young men. There was something about him that immediately caught her attention. Maybe it was his calm voice. Maybe it was the kindness in his eyes. Or maybe it was simply the strange feeling that their meeting was somehow meant to happen. When Jila noticed her staring, he smiled. Shama quickly looked away. But a few minutes later, as she filled her basket, she heard his voice behind her.
"Are you from around here?"
Yes, I am.
Their eyes met again. That was the beginning. At first, their conversations were simple. Greetings. Short talks about school. Small jokes. But slowly, those short conversations became longer ones. Then they became regular meetings. Soon, Shama found herself looking forward to market days more than anything else. Even more than school. And without realizing it, her heart was beginning to change. Shama tried to balance both worlds. Her studies. And her growing feelings for Jila. At first, she believed she could control it. She still studied late at night. Still answered questions in class. Still scored the highest marks in tests. But something was slowly shifting. Her thoughts wandered during lessons. Her mind drifted toward the market square. Toward Jila. Jila was older than her. More experienced with the world. He spoke about dreams too. But his dreams were different. He talked about traveling. About making money quickly. About enjoying life while you were young. Shama listened to him with fascination. She admired his confidence. She admired the way he spoke without fear. But she didn't realize something important. Jila admired her too. But not in the same careful way she admired him. One evening, after the market had closed and the sky had turned orange with sunset, they walked together along the road outside the village. That evening would change everything. Because that was the night their innocent friendship crossed a line neither of them truly understood. And a few weeks later, Shama began to feel something strange. Her body was changing. Her energy was fading. Her appetite disappeared. At first she ignored it. Then the truth became impossible to deny. Shama was pregnant. Fear filled her heart. She stopped going to school. She avoided her teachers. She avoided the market. But secrets never stay hidden in small villages. Soon, the whispers began. Neighbors started talking. Students began noticing her absence. Eventually, her parents discovered the truth. Her mother cried. Her father sat in silence for hours. The girl who was supposed to carry their family's hope to Bwada had suddenly become the center of shame in the village. When the school heard the news, the decision was swift. Shama could no longer continue her studies. The scholarship dream vanished overnight. The future she had spent years building disappeared. And Jila slowly disappeared from her life as well. The boy who once made her laugh was nowhere to be found. Shama felt abandoned. Broken. Lost. For many people in Nsopolo, her story had ended. Another young girl whose future was destroyed by one mistake. But life had one more chapter waiting for her. Months later, Shama gave birth to a baby boy.
I love you so
The
much.
moment she held him in her arms, something inside her changed. For the first time since everything collapsed, she felt something different. Not shame. Not fear. But purpose. She realized something powerful. Her dream had not truly died. It had simply transformed. If she could no longer go to Bwada for herself, she would build a life strong enough so her child could go one day. Shama began working with her mother in the market. She saved every coin she could. At night, after her baby slept, she began studying again. Slowly. Quietly. Refusing to give up completely. Because the girl who once studied under a flickering lamp had not disappeared. She was still there. Still dreaming. Still fighting. And one day, the people of Nsopolo would see something they never expected. The girl they once thought had lost everything would rise again, stronger than before. Sometimes life does not destroy your dreams. Sometimes it reshapes them. Shama's story was never about a mistake. It was about resilience. Because even when the road to Bwada disappeared, her journey toward greatness had only just begun.